One way that XK0 customers have been very successful with our iSales 100 mobile sales for Sage 100 product is by utilizing iSales at trade shows. Selling at trade shows is something that requires a great user experience, a high level of precision, and a high degree of reliability. Therefore, the native iOS application that we built at XK0 with the strong ability to filter each individual user with rules for customers, items, and most importantly of all, the transaction rules creates a really great experience for users at trade shows. So we've made a new web page to illustrate that that you're looking at here. And in it, we describe a use case of how a particular wholesale distribution company wishes to utilize iSales 100 with Sage 100 at a trade show. So we walk you through different steps. And while we recognize that everybody's process and everybody's setup might be a little bit different, we think you'll find this to be a worthwhile guide. So we step you through on our website the process of setting up a new warehouse, transferring product to control your inventory to that trade show warehouse, and then how to set up the rules for a remote user using iSales 100. And this is something that we do natively right within Sage 100. So what most users find is that this is a very familiar interface, makes it very easy for them to set up this user. So in this example here, we're setting up a user called ATL18. It's for an Atlanta electronics trade show. And so we're going to go ahead and set that up here for this particular user. So then in it, what we're going to do is we're going to filter different rules for how we want customer information to come down, again in a very familiar Sage 100 tab. Filter our rules for inventory, which I'll show you this. In this case here, we have this warehouse code that's set up to be our trade show warehouse. Plus, we also want to be able to show them our main warehouse for inventory too. So we'll go ahead and we'll show them that. I'll back up here. And then possibly most important of all, these are all of the different rules that we have set up here for new transactions and payments, right? So we're going to allow orders and invoices to be taken. We're also going to accept credit cards here, all right? And another thing that we're going to do is we're going to allow for the creation of new customers to be set up on the fly. Certainly not something that everybody does, but plenty of companies like to be able to add new customers while they're at a trade show. So what we're going to do now is we're going to step through the process of an actual live demo from the mobile app itself. So I've gone ahead and created all of those setups in my Sage 100 system, and it took me just a few minutes to do that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my iSales application onto my screen, and there's my iSales 100 application. So because I've set up a new user, what I'm going to do is reset my device, and I'm going to go ahead with that login that I just put in, which is going to be ATL18. And I set them up with a password. I'll go ahead and enter that in too. Once I've logged in, I'm going to go ahead and synchronize my data. And in real time, that synchronization took a little bit less than a minute. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to search for an inventory item. And here's a fleur-de-lis bottle opener that I have in my system. And as you can see, I can see my pricing. And I also just the two warehouses that I want to have availability to. So here's my Atlanta electronics trade show warehouse, but there's my main warehouse too. So I have 10 with me here at the show. I've got 97 back at the main warehouse. Another thing I'll call out too, I can look at an image of that's coming straight from the item master file, and I can share that with a customer or a prospect who's at that trade show. So I'm just going to go ahead real quickly, and we're going to conduct a sale to American Business Futures, and I have customer memos that are popping up from Sage 100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new transaction, and when I start that transaction, I'm going to go through, and why don't I just go ahead and choose that fleur-de-lis bottle opener. Okay, so, and as you can see, it's defaulted to warehouse E18. Okay, so I can go ahead and view that. I could change that if I needed to for some reason. It defaults to a quantity of 1, and I'm going to go ahead and accept that. So it's a very simple order. I just went ahead and I added that item to an order. Now, there are a couple other things too. The customer had a very specific instruction for shipping, and they said, you know, make sure that when you ship that product, that you deliver it to the back dock. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right, so this is all information that historically maybe I would have been entering on a handwritten sheet or something to that event, but I just went ahead and added that to my order while I'm here. And then also I'm going to go to the total screen, and what I'm going to do is a calculation for sales tax. So, you know, if you're a company that requires sales tax, then I can go ahead and do that calculation here, and you can see that I've got a tax of $1 based on that. And then the last step is, you know, I set it up where I can accept a credit card. So we utilize Sage Payment Services, right? So that's a requirement for you. In this case here, I'm going to go ahead and choose that credit card that's on file. I could add a new one on the spot if I needed to. At this point now, I'm going to go ahead, add my signature to that order, and then I'm going to save it. So what I've done is, because iSales is an offline application, I've added that here to my shopping cart. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push that transaction back into Sage 100. So this will just take a few seconds here, and then we're going to go ahead and follow that through back into Sage 100. Now that I'm back in Sage 100, I'm going to go into sales order invoice data entry, because I had booked that as an invoice transaction type, and you can see I've got a batch here from iSales 100. So I'm going to go ahead and select that batch, and then within it I'm going to choose that invoice. So it gives me a message here: credit card deposit transaction has been processed for this invoice. And as you can see, this is for American Business Futures, and there's my bill to ship to information. There's my free fleur-de-lis bottle opener that I've added. You can see that the credit card payment has been automatically applied and updated via the Sage Vault. And that pretty much completes that round trip. So iSales 100 by XK0, you can learn more about it on our website. And more importantly, you can learn about it from your Sage business partner. Thanks very much.